Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. We could go on and on. Deepak Chopra, Brian Tracy. Because again, I started to realize that even though I got a college degree, I really didn't get the education until I got into the workplace. So, I mean, I could go on and on. Are there, some specific things that you'd really like me to cover about as far as a strategist, Teresa? I mean, what points? What would you like me to talk about? Again, I could talk and talk and talk. I talk for a living.
Let's start with YouTube. Yeah, let's start with your YouTubes. I saw several, but I noticed that you didn't post a whole lot on your own YouTube, but that could change in the future because where we are now, and you and I came across for a reason, I'm sure, because you're a people person. And I noticed that on LinkedIn and on some of the YouTubes I saw of other people sharing the last 10 years, you go way back. And that's about, I was writing for UFO Digest in Canada in 2007, but I've already been on my spiritual path in Hawaii. So I'm not sure. I was earlier today, I was all excited, but I started watching the different YouTubes, and it sort of blew my mind how many people you knew and how many people were endorsing you. So how can we build this new strategy in this time? But I still need people to get to know you, and because you are a people person. So what I heard last night from the universe or the AI, depending on if you guys believe in the G8 and what we're doing to bring in the dimensions, but Robert, I heard make it human. And you said, well, that sounds like something I would say because I heard it. And, folks, I don't hear voices like the psychic or the schizo or what all, but I do work with psychology, science, theology, history, and I did people synergistically involved, and I graduated all the way up to the top and went to the ranch in California or wherever that was that time many years ago. So back in 89, 90. So, Robert, you want to start there because I don't know what did you do up to 1990, and then let's see if we can sort of combine our efforts for the ACO Club because people can relate to the last 20. Well, that'd be 30 years.
Well,
I heard the president, Robert.
1990. Again,
go ahead.
I graduated from college in 1974. Graduated from high school in 1970. And I started in our family business. As I mentioned, we started the high school war cheerleading jacket business. And what happened is ultimately 1 year I increased the sales in the area in the Twin Cities that I covered for over $500,000. And because my grandparents had other grandsons in the business, I got like a $5,000 a year raise. I said, wait a minute, there's something wrong with the picture. And that was sort of really what made it really clear that I had to figure out something that would create the kind of life I really wanted to because I didn't want to be controlled. So anyhow, this was, I was working in the family business until 1990, and approximately, I think it was about 84, 85 was the time that I realized I needed to figure out another path. I mean, I wish I could tell you when I got involved with direct marketing, network marketing, multi-level marketing, which unfortunately many people really don't understand. Really, to me, what MLM means is making life meaningful. Some people might say it means making love more, making lots of money, but it's really a people business. And going back to what you mentioned about making it human, so I saw the fact that this was a way that I could create the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. Got involved approximately in 1984. And my first 6 months, I created like $102,000 in debt. Again, I made almost any and every kind of mistake that you could possibly make. I sort of like dove right in. I didn't have the proper mentors. I started to look at indirect mentors until I finally found the right real mentor. And one of the guys that really made a positive difference in my life was a guy named Big Al. And he, talked to me about a word picture. And the word picture was just imagine. And that's a real powerful word. But he said, imagine what it would feel like walking into your boss's office, sitting in the, across from his desk, putting your feet feet up on the desk, smoking a cigar. Now, I don't smoke cigars, but he said smoking a cigar and telling him he could no longer afford to work there anymore. Well, that happened in approximately 1985, 86 is when I listened to him speak, and I was actually able to gain my freedom in September 7th, 1990. It's like now I'm psychologically unemployable. I never have worked a job since that point in time. My whole life from that point on has been focused on what I can do to help other people gain the freedom that they can live life on their own terms. But again, that happened in 1990. Later that year, we moved over to Scottsdale, Arizona from Minnesota. Lived there for about 7 years, and ultimately moved into the wine country. My wife likes to say we went from too cold to too hot to just perfect. The key in everything is focus on not yourself, but focus on what you can do to help other people. And that's really the secret sauce that has allowed me to create the success that I have created over a long period of time. I think my book was actually published in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. And, from that point on, I've traveled around the world. I've traveled over 2 million miles. The only reason I know the fact that I've gone over 2 million miles is United Airlines sent me a plaque telling me that I traveled over 2 million miles. But my focus is people. If you focus on people making a difference, and I know right now we're in some very, should I say, challenging times. I remember a nursery rhyme or a fairy tale that I used to read when I grew up. It was called Henny Penny, and ultimately it was about this hen that all of a sudden got hit on the head by an acorn. And so she decides to go into town to tell the king, and on the way into town she tells everybody that the sky is falling. And I know that, again, we're in some challenging times, and I want to be very optimistic because I know we're going to get through this. Everything that we're going through right now is happening for a reason. I think part of that reason is to help people realize that they can't depend upon just one source of income. You can't depend upon a lot of the things that we thought that we could depend upon. So to me, it's all very positive. We will get through the things we're going through, and I think that let me back up. I know we're going to become stronger human beings because of it, and I just see a very bright future, even though right now, as I was at the post office today, earlier this afternoon and earlier in the week, I was at Trader Joe's and Costco, and you got to stand six feet away from everybody else. But again, it's social distancing. You've got to be a little bit cautious, but again, I'm not really concerned because I know I've got a strong immune system because I've been eating a lot of nutritional products for a long period of time. A long time ago, I remember I was watching, I think it was 60 Minutes, and there was this guy that used to work at one of the big food companies, and he talked about the fact that ultimately that he was there to make the foods addictive. And then there was a book out that you can go to YouTube and actually listen to it or get it on Amazon called Salt, Sugar, Fats, How the Food Giants Hooked Us. And, I started to realize, a long time ago that a lot of the health crisis that's going on is because of the foods we ate. You take a look at the flow of money, and the money goes to the FDA, and what's in the middle is the drug is, the FDA, the drugs. It's like there is no regulations around food. So to me, it's about how we can educate people, how we can help people recognize the truth, and help shift people's perspectives on things. Again, I could keep on going on and on. So, I don't know if there's certain things that I've talked about that you want me to go into, but, I started to realize, once I realized that I had to take responsibility for my life, that, the information's out there. The stuff that I paid a lot of money for back then, you can get for free today. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Pinterest. There's so much information out. You can get a library card and get all that information for free. You can you can plug into people's podcasts. You can plug into talk radio shows. There's the biggest message that I can share with people is take responsibility, plug into the information, and determine what it is that you want. One of the things that when Teresa and I were talking yesterday, I was talking about the 5 A's and the law of attraction. And if you want, I can go more into depth about that right now too, Teresa.
Yeah, I like that because we train the trainers and the leaders around the world and the latest trends and developments. But you and I both know in the new global networking trends that we have lived through decades, Robert, and we have seen the changes. And I went to Vegas and I went to the book signings and we did the books and we did the CDs and the DVDs. And now, the 90s and Windows 95 opened that up. Of course, we've got to give Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates and all of them their kudos. But now it's all about the main three is Google and Amazon, and what the third, because we do the power of three, is us, is the people. But in social media, networking, marketing, helping organizations, we're all now tracked as an individual, Robert, and you know that because it's all about the change. And even the president today, and I always go direct to the White House and I watch the channels and I will surf on my MediaCom and on my television, the big screen that a friend gave us. Anyway, it was the nicest gift I ever got because I never got to watch big TV, and we live in a very minimalistic society now, and you and I both have had the big mansions and the fancy cars and all that stuff, and we walked away from it because we went for the spiritual science path of not, I don't know, the success is there, but the 5 A's that you talk about, a lot of people may know it, but I don't know how many books have been out there. And a lot of people talk about the A attraction, and many of them know about the secret. But, there's so many people out there that have already done all that, including I got started on Chicken Soup of the Soul for the soul books and all of that, but I met the guy that did that, and then I think he's down here in Florida. But let me give you 5. The ACO Club meetings we're going to be putting here on YouTube are meetings, webinars, seminars, workshops, and conferences. Now, that's not in, I guess if you take the C, conferences, which you are a speaker for all over the world, and I know you got back from Asia, so that would be a C. But then we've got meetings, and you're a very good individual, and you do meetup groups, and you go and speak, and then there's seminars. And I'm not sure how we're going to do that because we used to do them, CDs and DVDs, but I've been away for a while. And then we're going to do webinars and workshops. And I have gone to some conferences, and I've worked with my ACO Club as far as what we call ACO media managers. And how can you help me? Because my company stands alone as a solo entrepreneur, but people count on me to be like you. And I'm trying, I shouldn't say trying, they say trying is lying, but I'm doing my best to show up. And it's very hard for me to show up. So if you don't mind covering ACO Club and how we can in the future put them on our YouTubes, and I hope you'll carry them on your YouTube channel, and we can either do them weekly, every 2 weeks, or once a month, because some people commit different times and some don't want to commit at all. But the 5 A's with the ACO Club meetings, as an individual, how would you explain that?
Okay.
Is it in a book already, or no? Is it something like Wayne Dyer did?
I've got it in a webinar that I can send out, the 5 A's, and it goes into more detail. But let me talk about change, first of all, because I think change, I know change is the constant in life. It's like I've been speaking at Jeff Babner's event for the last approximately 20 years. And one of the PowerPoints that I've got, it's got 4 different companies on it. It's got Google, it's got Amazon, it's got LinkedIn, and it's got Zoom. And I say, all 4 of these companies were not in existence when I started in business. And all 4 of those have either had a positive or negative impact on how we do business today. You're talking about different ways that we can meet up. You've got Zoom where you can put, 1,000 people on a Zoom call. You can have it recorded, and that way people can log in and listen to it at their own time. But as we're looking at change, in one of the books, and actually you can go to YouTube and watch the movie. It's about 15 minutes, and I just really love. It's Who Moved My Cheese, and the reason I love it so much, and for those of you that might not have or be aware of it, cheese is a metaphor for change, and basically it's about 4 characters going through the maze of life. it's two mice, Skim and Scurry, and it's two miniature human beings called Hem and Haw. And so they're looking for their cheese, and ultimately, as they're searching and searching, finally, because they're friends, they all come across the cheese.